Welcome back. Here is my foul up on Evergreen Lake. Uh, I went out there 2 days after I shot the first video, the breakdown, and all my interpretations that I expected were pretty much dead on. The only thing that was unknown to me, and I think I mentioned it, that it looked like on a Google image that the watercolor may be a little bit on the light side. I believe I called it it looked like it could be a light yellow green. Uh, yeah, it was clear. This lake was pretty clear. Um, it's sort of was. I was a bit surprised how clear it was when I got there, to tell you the truth. But let me just recap for you how my first day out there went. Now, I'll tell you right now, I didn't catch any big fish. I caught 8 saw-guys, but they were all fairly small. Probably 12 to 14 inches. But I did get 8, and I got, I think, at least 1 or 2 white bass, if I'm not mistaken. But that was it. And the other thing I did mention in the first video was um, when I fish a new lake, for the first time, it's best to fish it when the fish are in their full summer pattern. That's when they're at their highest activity. That's when you can get, under good weather conditions, you can get 2 movements a day, we would expect usually. Um, And I went there, I forgot the date now. It was like May, it was before Memorial Day, like the 20th or whatever. Um, and, I it wasn't quite full summer pattern. I mean, I would have liked to, and I think I will still try to make it back to this lake sometime later in the year. By my rest of June and July is pretty booked already with trips I already have planned, but maybe uh, August or September might be my next chance again down there. So hopefully I'll be on the water then. But let me just tell you how that day went. Now, the other thing that I was a bit restricted on, I think I may have mentioned this, is the boat rental place was only open 8 to 4. I got there at 7 o'clock in the morning just to make sure that there wasn't anyone else there renting a boat. Um, as it turns out, they only had one boat available to rent. They had two, but the second one was broken. So I did get the only boat they had. But got out there 8 o'clock, and they closed at 4 o'clock, but there was a note there saying that you had to have the boats back by no later than 3:30. So by the time I left the dock, had everything loaded up and left, and they actually had lines in the water, it was probably almost 8:30. So I was really fished from 8:30 to 3:30. So um, when I left the dock, the first thing I did was head over to this structure here, and it was, I thought, the deepest water in the area here is showing like 12 feet, and that's what it was. Let me see if I can pull up I had my little portable Garmin unit with me. You can see I only made like 2 or 3 passes on it, and I realized, nope, it is breaks very shallow, not a lot of deep water. I just thought that, and water being so clear, I thought, nah, this is too shallow and too clear of a water. So I left that. I only spent not even 5 minutes there. Then I went over to the second structure we looked at, which is over here. You can tell it's a little bit deeper water in the area, but let me see if I can find that one map. That was this one right here. Um, it did look better than the first structure because you had a little bit more deep water, and I think it broke, was it 14, 13, 12, 11? Yeah, yeah, I think it was about a 10 to 11 foot break line that it dropped out, so it was a little bit deeper of a break line. But once again, with that clear water, I think I made 2 or 3 passes on it, and I was like, nope, let me move on. Now, if I had better watercolor, which on a reservoirs you typically expect to have better watercolor in the spring, and then the lake, as you move into summer, it usually generally gets clearer. I don't know if this lake is usually this clear. It could be because we haven't had much rain in this part of the country, in our area, for quite some time. So watercolors in these reservoirs are usually a little clearer than they would typically be. I don't know. I'm assuming it might be for this reservoir too. Um, but based on the watercolor and how shallow it broke and the amount of deep water here, I just made a couple passes and went on. But once again, if I had better watercolor, I probably would spend more time here, and I would think I'd have a better chance to catch fish here. But I moved on and made it down to, once again, I did not fish this bar here. It's a deeper bar here. And now looking back at it, I wish I would have, but I think I stayed on the west shoreline and just worked my way over here until I got to this bar. And this was probably, there were two structures that I really liked on this lake, and this was one of them. Actually, I boated 8 saw guys, and I want to say 4, if not 5 of them came off of this bar over here. Let me see if I can find that one. Yeah, there it is. I believe I tried putting a waypoint down every time I caught a fish, or if there was a big snag. I think these 3 waypoints indicate some of the saw guys I caught. But you can see that you've got a really sharp break here, and over here it breaks at the end around, that 18, 19, or 20 foot. And that's probably right where I got one of the saw guys, and that's looking at the map here. That's where I would expect that these fish would contact the structures right over here. And I think I got fish on the other side, one fish on the other side here too, but I really like this bar. And that bar was this one right over here. It looks a little bit different from what this map shows. This map shows it being more gradual sloping, and it doesn't really show a very distinct break line other than right over here. But I like this structure. Like I say, I caught, if half my fish, or 4 of the 8 or 5 of the 8 saw guys right off that structure there. I think I also got one of the white bass off that structure too. And I was getting a lot of bait fish marks off of it, which is always a plus. I mean, a lot of times you've seen schools of bait fish on a structure. You're usually going to have a really good chance that you're going to have game fish on that structure as well. So I really like that structure, but I wanted to check out the rest of the lake, so I put it down over here. And a little side note here, when I researched this lake, I wasn't interested in boat ramps because I was renting a boat, and I thought that the only boat ramp was the one that was by the boat rental place over here. But when I came around the corner here and I saw there was a boat ramp here, I was pleasantly surprised, because I figured if I come back with my boat, I'll be limited to using the electric motor only, but I'll be close enough that I can fish this structure, this bar, or even this bar here. So I came over here, and this bar looked pretty decent too. I think maybe this is where I caught the white bass. I don't think I caught a saw guy there, but that was let me see if I can find that map here. Yeah, that's this one right over here. Yeah, I made some passes on there, and I would definitely fish that structure again if I went back. But the structure, as we interpreted it before, when we did our research, I felt that this was going to be the best structure on the lake, and I still believe that to be the case. Let me see if I can find that map. Yep, that's it there. And I'm going to try to get these two side by side. Give me a second here. Edit. Okay, trying to get these maps side by side. So you can see that they are, in this case, the maps are pretty similar. This looks pretty accurate to what I made, and it sort of peters out, and you got another little spot over here, which is over here, and it is a pretty long, it is definitely the biggest structure on the lake, which is a big plus. The biggest structures on the lake, I think you always have the best chance of catching the holding fish. So I really like this structure. I did get one saw guy here. I just think that it was just too early in the season, or these fish really weren't in full summer pattern yet. But you can see on the depths here that, this broke about, 18, 19, 20 feet down to the deepest water, pretty much in the whole lake here. Seemed like you had contact point, I would say, on the west side of the structure here, and probably a contact point on the east side here. You can see I didn't really quite map this, but this indicates that you had a deeper break line here, which I unfortunately didn't spend any enough passes on here to see that. But um, I would definitely go back and fish this structure over here. So I probably had four of the saw guys um, by around 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, something like that. And then I was watching the time, so I wanted to come back and spend more time on this structure again before I had to get back to the boat that ramp at 3:30. And when I got over here, like around maybe 3:05, 3:10, I made a pass and I got another saw guy, and I turned around and got another saw. I caught three saw guys in the last 20 minutes I was on the water. Could be an indication there was a movement. They were all small fish, probably, you know, 13 inches if I had to guess. Most of them were. Um, and they were hitting the 200 and 100 series spoon plug, those little fish like that. Um, but I was mostly interested in mapping, and I was hoping to get a little bigger fish here, but I did like this structure, and I just made it back in time at the boat ramp at 3:30. One thing I did note on that first trip, though, I was talking about how clear the water was. I didn't see any weeds when I was out there the first time, except on this bar. I noticed that there were weeds down to 8 feet, some scattered at 10, and that's when I was like, oh, wow, this lake is a little bit on the clear side. I had some pretty good overcast conditions that day, so I really didn't maybe stand out to me how super clear it was. Um, but I went back just recently. I think it was Saturday, June 2nd or 3rd, whatever that Saturday was, with my boat. I launched over here. I did buy the yearly pass, so I hope to get back there again. I think it was $48 for a season pass for a non-resident. Um, so I went out here, and I knew I'd be limited to using my electric motor. Um, and I went out and I went around the corner here first. I went back to this structure here, and I did catch one white bass on it. Um, I was fan casting it, and I was able to go about 1.7 miles with my electric. That is not fast enough to troll with a spoon plug, but it was fast enough to troll with a crankbait. So I put the crankbait down there and uh, tried. Now, when I mapped these maps you were looking at, this is on my smaller Garmin portable unit. I didn't. What I should have done is taken a memory card out of it and put it in my big unit and continue that map. I didn't do that. I was afraid. I didn't want to take a chance of corrupting my maps because I did that years ago when I first bought my unit. But I don't know. I wish I would have taken that map out and continued. But I was like remapping this on my main Garmin unit in my boat, so it was generating the maps all over again. Um, but on that second trip, I only got a couple of white bass. I think one here, and I think I might have got one here. I didn't get anything here, but I tried working this, and to be honest with you, I got really frustrated that I couldn't turn on my outboard because I wanted to check speed, get a little faster, and continue my mapping. Um, and I spent some time casting. I probably stayed here till 12. I got on the water early that second day. I was on the water by 6 a.m. And I think about 12:30, I'd like, you know what? I just got frustrated, and once I was mostly, I was also surprised how damn clear the water was. Weeds were pretty much over quite a bit of the shoreline, and they were coming in a lot thicker, and they were pretty good down to 8 feet, scattered at 10 feet. I put my lure in the water. It was nice and clear, sunny day out. Put the lure in the water, and it was at least 8, 9 feet that you can see the lure. So um, I just thought, you know what? It was just too clear. Water was too clear. It was really sunny out, and I just got frustrated about not being able to turn on that outboard and check some faster speeds under the conditions I had. So about 12:30, I thought, let me leave and finish the day somewhere else. But I would definitely go back, and I will go back. But like I said, I got a pretty booked summer. We got a lot of trips coming up. We're going to Lake Erie, Father's Day weekend, and then we're going to go to Central and Southern Illinois to fish bass lakes down there. We're going to go to Lake of Egypt and probably San Chris and just focus on largemouth bass on that trip. And then after that, the next weekend we're going to Canada. And then right after that, we're going to hit Green Bay. So that takes me all the way up until about the second or third week in July. Um, so I hope to get back down here again, maybe late July, early August. See if the watercolor hit by chance gets a little bit better. And by then, the fish will definitely be in their full summer pattern. So it'll be interesting to see how fishing is back then. But I'm 100% confident that I found, or my interpretation was what was correct about these structures, that I still believe that this is probably the best structure on the lake, and probably followed by this structure. That's where I would spend all my time, on this structure. And of course, I would also, as I'm going back and forth, continue fishing this structure here too. But I would concentrate there. So I'm not giving up on the lake. Again, I think my initial interpretation of the lake was pretty accurate. It's just that the watercolor is much clearer than I was hoping for. But I will go back and share that video with you, hopefully later on when I do return. But you'll see clips of some of the small saw guys I caught on my first trip. I'll show you that, and when I head back again, hopefully it'll be better weather and water conditions, and I hope to see some better results. Thanks for watching. I'm here. Boy, that thing is noisy. Boy, this brings back some memories going old school here. I'm in the rental boat. Got a little 5.5 Mercury, I think. Noisy as hell, but let's go, man. I got my spoon plugs I'll be trolling with that are going to teach me about the lake, and I'm at the bottom for me, going to find the structures for me. Once I find a structure situation, I'm going to, give it the works. I'm going to troll it and cast it. I got printed out my maps here. I'm going to go to this first bar over here, work this, and then after that I'm going to shoot over to the second bar here, and then work my way to the structures by the dam. So it's what time is it? It's 8:19. I just don't like the time restriction I've got. I'm used to fishing sunrise to sunset. I got to be back by 3:30 with the boat, so gotta get out there. Let's go. Oh boy, I hope you can hear me. This damn thing is so noisy. All right, I just finished the first structure, and like I thought, I made 3-4 trolling passes on it. It's shallow, drop off. It's about 7 feet, and it just drops off. And the flats here, the deepest water here is only about 12.5 feet, 13 feet at the most. So I'm going to move on to the second structure and check that structure out. So probably a little larger, I think. Might be a little saw guy, who knows. Yep, little saw guy. That's the first fish of the day. Small guy. That's my first saw guy. Let's go. Got a second fish on. Off a little bar here. It's another little saw guy. All right. We're got 2 fish now. About the same as the previous one. Well, caught an old fishing pole. Boy, I really like this structure I found here. It's one I looked at on the map that I said I'm gonna have to check it out, and it's a lot better than what the map shows. It breaks really deep. I caught that one saw guy pretty close to the structure here, and I'm seeing a lot of schools of bait fish all around this structure, so I'm guessing there's some fish here too. So I'm gonna make some drift passes across this thing, working a jump bait, which is a blade bait right now, and I think I'm gonna be doing as much casting as possible because I didn't bring a seat cushion. I got to give my butt a break every now and then and stand up. Feels like I got another small saw guy on. Maybe a little bit bigger than the last couple. Oh, it's a white bass. Just a small white bass.
Strikes out swinging.
Another small fish on. Another small fish on. I'm by the dam area now, and the last structure I was on I really liked. It's getting a lot of marks of bait fish, which is a good thing. That means that the game fish aren't far away. I'm just making my another little saw guy. I'm just making a first pass on this big structure.
It's the bottom of the third.
Close to the dam area.
9, Lake Zurich, 0.
Yeah, I'm glad to see these little guys bite.
They're 0 for 1 today.
Oop, listen to Casey's baseball game.
The count is 1-0. The count is 2-0.
Well, that's the third saw guy, but let's get some bigger ones here. Got a small boy. It's been a slow afternoon. Oh, I only got like an hour of fishing left at that. I just had another small fish hit. Probably another small saw guy. Oops. Probably another small saw guy yet. There we go. That's all I've been catching is this is the fourth small saw guy, and that's it, and the one white bass. And that's been it. Though the structures I found I do like a lot. I just think that fish aren't moving very well. And I would definitely come back though. I found some structures, got some good depth to it, good breaks to it. The water's a little bit on the clear side. It's a light yellow green. I've seen that some areas have weeds, but the bottom is pretty clean. Not too many snags. It's just snagged a couple of times, but hope we get a big one before in the next hour or so. Well, just literally like 2 minutes later, turned around and made another pass on this nice bar here, and another small fish. Maybe there's a little movement happening here. Tried checking my speeds, casting, some jump baits and some jigs. Yeah, another small saw guy. Oop. There we go. That's number 5. But all right, about 10 minutes later, picked up another one here. Boy, if it's an activity period starting, I'm gonna have to leave soon. Boat's got to be back by 3:30. And it's 2:55 right now. Gosh, they're all small. Another cookie cutter. All right, well, that's the 6th saw guy. I think 3 of them have come off this one structure here. So I think I'm a little bit too early in the season to get, prime summer movement, but let's get some more. Just picked up another small fish. I hate it's 3:09. I gotta have the boat back in 20 minutes. And this is the 4th saw guy I caught in like the last 30 minutes. This will be the 7th one for the day, but they're all small. Yep, they're all the same year class. Look like they make good good feed for the muskies. I'm sure the muskies are chopping on these guys, but they're only like 12 inches. Oh, this is 313. This is my last pass on this structure. I gotta start heading back. I spent some time casting here, nothing. All the fish I've got so far have been on the troll. But I think out of the 7 saugers I've caught, at least 4, if not 5, have come from this one particular structure. On Evergreen for the 2nd time. I'm in my boat, which is going to be a lot more comfortable, although I'll be lacking speed control since I can only use the electric motor. I transferred my waypoints only from my portable Garmin unit. I didn't want to take a chance on transferring any kind of maps I had because it got screwed up when I did it years ago. I got the waypoints, that's all I need. I remember what the structures look like, and I got waypoints on where I caught fish or the contact points are at, and I'm at one of the waypoints now. Got here with the electric, going to fan cast, and I'm going to use like a bottom bumping lure, which is going to be my spoon plugs. I got them all lined out here. These, like I said, anytime I fish a new lake, I'm using a spoon plug as much as I can, because the spoon plug is a tool that will teach you. It's going to stay on the bottom. I mean, it's new lake, I'm always using a spoon plug to start out with. After I cast the spoon plug here, I'll go to a slower speed and then cast a jump type bait. But this is the structure when I was out here last time that I got, I think, at least 3 if not 4 of those small saw guys. Wasn't far from the boat ramp. So I'm primarily going to fish 2 structures, this structure and the structure by the dam. So I think I got enough juice with my lithium battery to last me most of the day, I'm hoping. Did bring the 2nd battery with me, so I think I'll be fine. And I'm going to start fishing, see if I can't catch some of these Evergreen Lake muskies and big saw guys. Let's go. Fish on. I'm actually able to troll with the trolling motor at about 1.6 miles an hour. That's too slow for a spoon plug, but I got a deep crank on here, and I'm going from just moving from one structure to the next structure here. I think it's a small saw guy. It's not a big fish. Let's see. Yeah. It actually doesn't feel too bad. That's a white bass. Yeah, just a white bass on the spoon, trolling the 3-way. And that's all it is, just a little white bass. I think I got my 2nd fish on, another small fish. I believe it hit the spoon. Probably another white bass, yeah. Yeah, another white bass on the spoon. All right, hopefully we'll get a muskie or a saw guy later.